got a lot of length. He kind of looks like the old Seattle corners, the Richard Sherman. The guys are just long and lanky and able to make plays on the ball, playing with a ton of confidence. I think last week they didn't really go after him much at all, didn't really test him, which I understand. You can see that watching the tape. He's really made an impact early on in his career there, so he's a good player.
You can normally kind of target a rookie corner, but he's not exactly your average rookie cornerback.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he was drafted high. There was a lot of high opinions of him coming in, and he's lived up to that expectation, in my opinion. So.
What about DJ Reed on the other side of him? What kind of cornerback is he?
Yeah, he's played really well. They're built very different, but he's done a great job. He's really feisty. Obviously with teams getting more and more attention to Sauce Gardner, that it feels like teams are going after him a little more, but he's risen to the challenge. They're playing really, really well. It's a really good pass defense. I think the stats would tell you that as well. They play with high effort, and that kid's done a great job over there on his side as well.
The weather conditions are supposed to be, a lot like Philly earlier in the year. What do you do different? Have you learned anything from that will cause you to change some stuff up?
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, we're aware of it. We understand that. We understand we kind of had our own self-inflicted issues in Philly in terms of our ball security. So that's just something we've been aware of. We've tried to emphasize that every single week going in. We've played in games that there's expected rain, whether that was home games or on the road. So that's certainly something we're aware of. We understand we have to do a better job than we did when we saw that 3 months ago.
I'm curious, I guess I said 1 to 2 inches of rain is expected. Would you rather be 1 to 2 inches of snow? I mean, if you have to choose between the two.
I'm in the box, so it's going to be nice. They got good food. Yeah, I don't know. That's a fair question. Maybe, I mean, anything falling, snow falling, rain falling, that's not ideal. If it's just snow on the ground, that's different. You'd probably prefer that. Depends on how much. But, I mean, each game, the conditions are what they are, and you kind of just deal with it. At least both teams are playing in it. That's the biggest thing. So I'd love it to be perfectly nice and sunny and warm, no breeze, all that type of thing. But that's just not the way we play football. And when you play in these outdoor environments, you got to deal with it. So.
When you have a situation where different guys each week are stepping up and being able to make plays, it was Evan, it was Zay this week, is that more on Trevor and just his chemistry with each guy, or does that come down to game planning and attacking a defense based off what they're giving you?
Yeah, I think it's all the above. I mean, it's kind of we build a game plan, and really everybody has their plays. I mean, everybody would kind of go home at night and say, "Oh, I hope they call these 3-4 plays it's going to hit," and then it's just a matter of how it works in the game. Sometimes you call it. They probably break the huddle thinking, I'm going to get this ball. Defense plays a certain way, and it goes another place or something happens. So I don't know. I think it's more just the byproduct of the offense and Trevor operating it at very efficiently at least, where the ball just kind of goes where it's supposed to go if the look's right. If the look's not right, get a completion, keep the play moving, or keep the series moving, and we'll come back to certain things. So I think it just kind of played out that way where a couple weeks ago things just found Evan. Last week things found Zay, but I think it was kind of spread pretty evenly, which we like to see where there's a couple guys that get 6-7 targets, a couple guys around 60, 70, 80 yards. Somebody makes a big play and kind of blows up their numbers a little bit. But that's just kind of the way it works sometimes.
Walker Little, what kind of confidence is there for him at left tackle?
Yeah, tons of confidence with Walker. He stepped in, did a good job. He's got playing experience from last year even to draw on. There was a legitimate battle through the offseason, through training camp at the tackle position, and that's because Walker put himself in that position to make that a real competition. Now, we were fortunate that Cam and JT have played so well and had stayed healthy to this point. But there's tons of confidence in Walker that Walker's going to step in and do his job. I think he'll play well performing next to Tyler Shatley as well. Tyler's done a great job communicating with the tackles next to him. So, it's next man up. He's got a job to do, and we expect him to do it at a high level.
I know swing tackles are expected to play both left and right, but how hard is that for a guy to go in there and play, like 30 snaps right tackle and left tackle?
I mean, I assume it's really hard. I've never done it myself, but I can imagine where it would be hard of, changing your stance, changing your dominant hand, and especially with the pass rushers we were going against last week. You all of a sudden you're cool on the sideline, you step in the game, and you're facing Micah Parsons on one side, you move over to the other side, maybe you're still facing him because they flipped him, or you're facing DeMarcus Lawrence, but I thought Walker handled the challenge really well.
What kind of job has Phil Rauscher done with this group? I mean, no disrespect to Shatley at all, but he was a second-team guy. Now you're playing with a tackle that's a swing guy, second-team guy. You got a rookie at center, and you held them to 1 sack, and they've given up 1 in the last 3 games.
Yeah, Phil's done a phenomenal job of having all those guys ready, and a lot of it is kind of the room that's built, the type of character that we have in that room. We lose Ben Barch. Shatley steps in. Shatley's played great so far. They've done a good job keeping Trevor clean. And being able to keep us in situations where we can kind of dictate the terms of the game. if you get in 3rd and 11, you're not going to make a living in 3rd and 11 against the Dallas Cowboys in that pass rush. So being able to maintain that, but then, like you said, Walker stepping in and just being ready to play, whatever side he's needed on. All those guys expecting that the next man up is going to do their job. Luke running the show and communicating has been really, really good so far at this point in his rookie year. Now, we've got to continue, just as an offense. We have one good game. It doesn't do anything for us on Thursday night. We have to continue to come out and execute at a high level.
Anything changed at all in your playbook without Cam out there?
No, nothing will change. We'll continue to operate as is.
Trevor's talked openly about the Denver game in London being a low point for him. And did you get that sense at the time or on the flight back that he was going to be different, or he vowed to be different?
Yeah, I mean, you saw kind of the just dejection in him. He came up, I remember him coming up and sitting next to me on the plane for a long time. We just had a long conversation about where we were and all that. But, I mean, I wouldn't have said he was down in the dumpster. He just doesn't seem to have that personality. You know, you felt like he would respond. And so, you know, just to watch him work and kind of the way he pulled himself out of that moment, and I think it was just that moment. I don't think things linger with him very long, good or bad. I think he just continues to play and move on. So you felt confident that that was going to happen, and then, you know, you need to see it. And it's every single week, like we said, you know, just because he's had success in consecutive weeks doesn't do anything for Thursday night. You've got to go out and play well. That's what the great players in this league do, regardless of position. The great players show up every single week, and they're consistently great.
How difficult is the Jets' defense in general? We talked about Sauce already, obviously, but just what they've been able to do, what sort of challenges do they pose?
It feels like there's just a wave of defensive linemen coming in and out. So it doesn't feel like there's a major drop-off when the backup D-line comes in, which is not always common across the board with defenses you face. So it feels like they just keep throwing pass rushers out there. They're playing with their hair on fire. They're flying up the field at the quarterback. They've done a good job. I think they're top 10 in the league in sacks. They've done a great job in pressures. They fly around in the back end. You can tell the command that C.J. Mosley has in this defense of just kind of running the show, getting everything directed. When they're checking, they all get on the same page pretty quickly. I think the safeties have played really well. Even with Joyner out the other day, Will Park stepped in. I thought he played well. And then the Whitehead, number 3, he's played really well this season. He shows up. Our receivers are very aware that if you have to block him in the run game, he's going to show up quickly with a bad attitude. So.
And I know Quinnen Williams is kind of questionable to play, but if he does, what sort of threat is he, and how big of a challenge is that going to be for the interior of your offensive line?
Yeah, he is a great player, caused a lot of disruption in there. And it's tough when it's inside because it's not like you can put a tight end on the edge and try to help. It's, when you can, you try to make sure you send a double team to him. But that's kind of the versatility of being able to move around inside. They present issues where there's going to be one-on-one situations, and he's a very good player that can cause a lot of problems in there. Cool. Thanks, guys.
So you ran on the field after that pick 6 at the end of the game, huh?
Well, first I asked the referee, was it good? He didn't give me an answer, and I saw everybody else down there, and, great moment for the city. It was huge. You go there and you hear all the Dallas fans, but at the end of the day, our fans stood up, and it was a great atmosphere.
Is that the fastest you ran in a while, maybe?
Yeah, I think I pulled a muscle maybe. I'm hurting. Normally I walk a lot, but yeah, it was exciting. Great moment for us.
How important has Rayshon Jenkins been to your defense so far this year? I mean, that was his first pick 6 ever. So, I mean, a hell of a play to have it on, but how just important has he been for what you like to do?
He's a guy that he kind of brings a toughness to the secondary. He's a guy that's physical. He's in the box, and he makes plays. But the thing about him, he loves to play the game. You see him out there, he's always has this energetic look on his face. He's always ready to go, and, he just brings excitement to the team.
How much does that spark a defense to have a guy like Rayshon, that energy he brings? How much does it spark them to play well throughout the entire game?
I think we already talk about enthusiasm. You have to have effort is a given. Effort is a given, but that enthusiasm, it takes it to another level, and guys feed off of it. Defense makes a play, offense gets going. Offense makes a play, defense gets going. Special teams does it for everybody. So it's just the energy you get from being in a team atmosphere that's great.
REP has kind of stepped it up, not just this week, but even last week. What have you seen out of him in recent weeks that have kind of given you the confidence that he can be a guy wherever you put him on the field?
Well, the confidence is always there. It's just the fact that we understand that we have to stop the run on first and second down and get in better third down situations. So those guys get opportunities to go out there and do what they do well, and that's rush the passer. And we've been doing that. and he's taking advantage of it. He's playing a little bit more with Trayvon being hurt last week, not playing, and he can play inside, he can play outside. He does a good job for us, and he's another guy that always has excitement in his voice. He's always talking to guys. He's always getting guys going, and we can't be any more happy we have him.
What are your impressions of Zach Wilson?
When you watch him, he can make all the throws. He's a guy that throws from different angles. He can throw a heck of an out ball, and he's just a guy that you see the talent there. You see why he was drafted so high, and he just makes plays for him. We just have to understand that, we try to go out there like we do any quarterback, try to pressure him and get him off his spot and make him feel uncomfortable.
He was described as a gunslinger coming out of BYU. He's kind of got that runaround mentality. I mean, is he a risk taker? Does that strike you as a guy that will put the ball on the ground or put the ball in your hands?
I think he's a guy that has the opportunity to make plays, and he goes for it. You look at all the good ones. You throw guys open in this league. If you wait for a guy to get open, it's either going to get picked or you're going to get sacked. You throw guys open, and he trusts his arm, which he should, because he can sling it, and he goes out there to make plays.
Trayvon missed last week. Some of the guys talked about how involved he was on the sideline. I guess you talked about Devin Lloyd taking a step back, being able to see the game from a different angle. Do you think maybe missing last week for Trayvon can be a similar kind of impact where he can see the game from a different angle?
It's funny that sometimes it works like that. When you do get a chance to step back and watch your guys out there playing and put yourself in that same situation or different situations, it helps because you're not out there worried about the call. You're not out there worried about the offensive lineman across from you. You're not out there worried about what situations in the game. You're just watching the game and watching your specific area, and hopefully it does benefit him.
Darius Williams on the outside the last 2 weeks. What have you seen from him?
I think he's comfortable outside, and you can see the coverage ability. He's out there, and I think it's a spot that he feels comfortable playing, and he's making plays. Guys are going after him, and he's coming up, standing up, and it's good for the defense.
Is one of the biggest differences between playing outside and playing in the slot just fitting against the run?
That's one of the differences. You do have to fit in the run game, but other than that, the speed is different. You're working against guys that really have the whole field to work on. When you're outside, if you get too wide, you really can't run an outside route. So it's to the defense's advantage, but you understand based on being inside that, the whole field is really available to the offense.
Greg Jones got elevated yesterday. Greg Jr., I'm sorry, got elevated yesterday. What has the rookie shown you to, in practice? They even shouted him out yesterday when he was at the podium.
It goes back to even like training camp. He's a guy that came in, started learning the system. Now he's been in it, and you can see him week by week. He's out there staying after practice, getting extra work with the receivers, and gives a great look on the look team. Now he gets a chance to get elevated, and hopefully, he'll be up and we'll get a chance to get him on the field and see what he does.
Does he work in the slot, or is he an outsider?
He can do both. He can do both. He can go outside, he can go inside. So, he's another option to be able to put inside or put outside.
Devin got a lot of reps at inside last week. Is he taking back over that job, or is that just kind of easing Muma back into work?
I think both of those guys really, they both complement each other, and we'll continue to use both of them and, get Chad going, getting him healthy, and then Devin continue to let him feel comfortable and make plays. Those guys are good young players, and they're going to continue to get better.
What happened on that one play where he kind of got to Dak? Did he think the ball had already been thrown?
It's a thing. When you look at it, he came on a blitz, and Dak pump faked it. So he hit him, and he thought that he threw the ball, which happens all the time because, if you hit the quarterback wrong or you hit him and you land on him, it's a personal foul. So we talk about being smart around the quarterback. We just have to get him to understand that, let's finish through the play. You don't have to land on top of him or hit him in the wrong area, but you can wrap him up and take him to the ground and don't lay your body on him because that's a penalty. You just roll to the side. But that comes with experience and comes with, it was just a freak play. He pump faked hard, and everybody in the stands thought he threw the ball, and then he kept it. So, he'll learn from it, and next time he'll get him down.
I know that both Devin and Chad, you guys want to sort of use, but ideally, if Chad is fully healthy, would you guys want him to take the majority of the snaps? It seems like that's the direction you guys were heading before he got to the.
I don't think the majority. I think both guys will play, and then there'll be certain packages where we can get, three guys on the field together. Then possibly even getting Shaquille Quarterman in there and 4 package linebackers. So we'll just weekly, whatever the offense presents to us, we'll have a plan for it, and we'll use our personnel to the best we can. And right now, linebacker is a strength for us, so we want to get those guys on the field, just like safety is. We've got a couple of positions where we feel really confident in our guys, so try to get as many of them on the field as we can.
Short week. If Foley can't go this week, how do you replace his impact?
Again, next man up. That room has a bunch of players. Corey's played, Jeremiah Ledbetter. We have guys that have played, Adam Gostis, guys that can play, that can step in, and, next man up. We got to put the guy, whoever's healthy, we'll go with them, and we'll go out there and be successful and try to do our best to get it done.
All good?
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you.